Good morning, our dear esteemed farmers, and thank you all for your presence today. My name is Lucy Maingi from Invest in Africa, and allow me to invite you all to the IIA Webinar Series, the Farm to Market edition. And I'm so certain that we've all braced ourselves for a very interactive and resourceful session ahead. And now, in the interest of time, kindly allow me to introduce our moderator of the day, a very, very powerful woman, a force to reckon with. She is the country director at Invest in Africa, Madam Wangeshi Muriuki. So allow me to hand this over to you. Wangeshi Muriuki, feel so much welcome and carry on with the conversation. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for turning up, and it's such a pleasure to be with our distinguished guests once again connecting on our Invest in Africa webinar. I think today's is exciting and very, very unique. So on behalf of Invest in Africa, my name is Wangeshi. I'm the country manager, and it's our pleasure to host you and to have all of us joining from many different counties. So mine is to first of all just talk to you about Invest in Africa and our membership and our initiative and what we are about before I bring on board our panel of very distinguished people who have joined us this morning. I think we are so privileged and indeed we are blessed. So in summary, Invest in Africa is we are a high impact network that is a private sector initiative that is working together to empower small and medium enterprises. We are Pan-African. We have presence in 6 countries. We have a country office in Ghana. We operate in Senegal. We are in Mauritania. We are in Kenya. We are in Zambia. And we work with the purpose of enabling trade between small and medium enterprises with the large organizations. And our mission is focused on improving access to markets, access to skills, access to finance. So we are about empowering enterprise, and we bring everyone together in an ecosystem to empower enterprises. So we've built a unique platform that is called biashara.now. So we bring together different actors and players within our ecosystem to be able to collaborate and drive the synergy in ensuring that we're enabling markets effectively. We are supporting entrepreneurs to develop their skills and address the gaps that hinder them from, from trading or from competing effectively or delivering to contracts effectively. And we're also working to improve access to finance. So we partner with private sector, we partner with the DFIs, we are partnering with member associations, all coming together to enable opportunities and to enable trade. And our initiative in Kenya is engaging close to 3,000 small and medium enterprises. We've been able to deliver contracts worth 300 million Kenya shillings in the last 3 years. And we have facilitated finance worth over 500 million US Kenya shillings. But we are working with the vision of creating 500,000 new jobs by 2025. And we want to connect you to contracts worth 1 billion US dollars by 2025. And how are we able to do that as private sector? We do engage private sector to provide opportunities for our SMEs, and we promise in the end to unlock the ecosystems of SMEs to organizations in private sector. So we work with companies in the priority sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, oil and gas, infrastructure development, and we have assured them that we have SMEs, smallholder farmers that can deliver. We've also taken the extra mile of ensuring that we bring together ecosystem players to support these value chains so that they have the full confidence that if they provide or they guarantee opportunities that you can deliver. So that's the essence of our conversation. today to discuss in a COVID world what opportunities exist today. If I'm out there and I'm a farmer, or I am in logistics, or I play in any part of the value chain in agribusiness, what opportunity does exist, and how will that be enabled within the partnership of ecosystem of Invest in Africa? So that forms the basis of our conversation this morning. And just to state that we do have a hub for those of you who may not be available through our platform. If you registered, I think you were requested. There was a question on whether you're a member of Biashara.now or whether you're a member of Wakulima Hub. We have a space or a hub called the Wakulima Hub, specifically for players in agribusiness or SMEs in agribusiness that may want to work with our off-takers. And this morning we'll be hearing more about that, because we've been able to convince very busy private sector players like BIDCO Africa to just come and engage our members for 1 hour and talk to us about these opportunities. So if you're not a member of Biashara.now, we'll kindly request you to just engage our team or indicate on the feedback form, and we shall contact you. We have a hub called Wakulima Hub. That's your space. You can connect with other farmers and other members of the ecosystem. So without much ado this morning, because we don't want to waste time talking too much, we want to engage the main people here. We do have our panel of experts joining us today, and I will have the honors first of all of introducing each one of them, and then we'll have a chance to have them talk to us and tell us more. So this is your forum, ladies and gentlemen. It's your chance to listen and ask questions. That's why Lucy was so emphatic, saying please don't leave, because we don't want you to go out there to say that there are no jobs, there are no opportunities, it is COVID time. It's actually great news to know that during COVID, there are still opportunities, and there are still members within the ecosystem that will support you to get your product from the farm to the market, and even for those who are in between. So who do we have on our ecosystem? We do have very many different organizations coming together, and the panel today just presents and showcases how we can be able to actualize these opportunities. So I'll be straight away start with the introductions. So joining us this morning is John Kariuki from BIDCO Africa, and remember that this webinar is conducted in conjunction. It is by Invest in Africa, but in partnership with BIDCO Africa. They are our proud partners. So we are joined by John Kariuki, who is the head of agribusiness at BIDCO, but John has over 27 years experience in agribusiness development locally, internationally, within the private sector. Now, secondly, we also are joined by Valerie. Valerie is the founder and director of Jenga Capital. Now, Jenga is an investment firm that is focused on providing capital to agricultural businesses in Kenya. And we all know that financing needs to work for the farmers, and particularly for agribusiness. And today we opted to engage someone or an organization that is very, very focused in looking to invest in agribusinesses. Thirdly, we've got Glenn Ogola from Sandy. He's actually the Enterprise Marketing and Growth Hack Associate, Sandy Limited. Most of us now know about Sandy, and Glenn is a supply chain expert. He's got lots of experience working with SMEs. Those of us who have joined our webinars, we had an experience of engaging him on supply chain disruption. But besides that, he's a seasoned B2B marketer and a business development professional. He takes care of enterprise marketing at Sandy. And finally, last but not least, we are joined by Charles. By Charles Minor, who is the General Manager, Technical Services at Polycon. And Polycon Services Limited, he'll be telling us about that organization. But Charles is joining us from Mombasa. He's a chemist by profession and a graduate of University of Nairobi. That's great. He's been working with Polycon for over 10 years and has grown through the ranks because of hard work. Risen to General Manager at Polycon. So we've got partners. We've put together a very, very good panel to engage us this morning on the cross-cutting issues on these opportunities that exist in private sector and how can we make this work. So as I mentioned, Invest in Africa engages private sector. We are trying to unlock SME ecosystems. We want to embed youth and women in everything that we do. So as an ecosystem, we are trying to connect each and all of us. And we are glad that we have quite a good number of you within our ecosystem. So I'll very quickly introduce each of the panelists one by one and just give them 2 minutes to introduce themselves and talk to us about their organization and how they are supporting SMEs at this particular time. And let's start with John Kariuki. Kindly talk to us, introduce yourself for 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wageshi, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is John Kariuki, as Wageshi has introduced me. I am the head of agribusiness development in BIDCO Africa. As was indicated before, our first experience in this field for about 27 years, I've been in agribusiness development. I work with BIDCO Africa, and I would like to introduce BIDCO Africa. I believe this morning a number of you could have consumed products from this company. We manufacture oils and fats, we manufacture detergents, even hand sanitizers that we are using now during COVID. We manufacture animal feeds. We recently got into the food industry where we are making noodles. We are also in the beef fridge industry where we are making these carbonated drinks. We are making water and many other products. Also to add animal feeds also. So we have offices in Thika. That's where the head office is. We are also in Roiro, where we have our industrial park that we opened late last year. And we also have the oilseed crushing factory in Nakuru, where we crush the oilseeds, that the sunflower, soybeans, and maize germ, the ones that we use for making the soft oils, like the Arianto oil that you like most. It's all the process starts in Nakuru. So in BIDCO, we have a philosophy called soil to pan philosophy, where we believe in looking at the entire value chain, ranging all the way from production in the farm to processing, marketing, and distribution to the consumers. Because we believe in 3 aspects as we engage in this venture. We believe in shared value where we believe in not leaving anyone behind. So we work with the people at the bottom of the pyramid, inclusive of the farmers. We also believe in inclusivity, so we empower women and youth. And of course, we also believe in sustainability, where we believe in environment conservation, working in a sustainable manner, so that we can take care of the future of the business. So basically, those are the 3 aspects that we believe in. And there are a number of opportunities that exist in BIDCO that is available to the smallholder farmers, it's available to youths, it's available to women. And I'll go through the 3 of them. The first one is, as I said, we manufacture oils and fats. So we do contract smallholder farmers across the country to grow soybean and sunflower. And we contract the farmers through offtake contracts. And the offtake contract stipulates the quality requirements. What varieties are you going to grow? What will be the mode of payment? Yeah, what will be the obligation for BIDCO? What will be the obligation for the farmer? Basically, those are the key highlights for the offtake contract. Hello, are we together?
Yes, we are, John. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So basically, we engage the smallholder farmers across the entire country. We have about 25,000 farmers now, ranging from Meru region, Mount Kenya region, Rift Valley, Western Kenya. So the entire country, we have about 25,000 farmers, all of them growing soybean and sunflower. But one interesting thing that I would like to talk about sunflower is that sunflower, which we are actually focusing on in this project, sunflower, it's a very adaptable crop for this kind of situation that now we are facing during this COVID time, because one is drought tolerant, the growth cycle takes only 3.5 months, and the market is available with BIDCO, so it's a good way of empowering the farmers and enhancing their recovery from the impacts of COVID. Yeah, so, and that's one of the reasons why we partnered with Invest in Africa to see how can we quickly or enhance the recovery of farmers during COVID and post-COVID. Now, sunflower, we are also partnering with beekeeping companies. Because sunflower requires bees for enhancing pollination, and when you enhance pollination, you get enhanced yields. So as we engage in sunflower production, that goes along also with beekeeping. And beekeeping, we've already identified some off-takers of the honey, so the farmer will not only benefit from sunflower, but also we will benefit from honey that we will get from the bees. The bees, we need them for pollinating the sunflower. So basically, that's one of the major opportunities that we have in BIDCO. It's available to the farmers in Kenya, it's available to the youths, it's available to the women. Now, the second opportunity is on bamboo production. You may be wondering, how is bamboo related with BIDCO? And in BIDCO, we generate 70% of our energy internally. We generate electricity from burning agro waste like macadamia has, coffee has, and also a bit of wood. And you realize that this is not very sustainable. So, taking cognizance of that fact, as BIDCO, we've been looking for alternative source of renewable energy, and we've identified bamboo as one of the best sources of renewable energy. Now, how is bamboo a source of renewable energy? It is a source of renewable green energy because once you plant bamboo, it matures in 3.5 to 4 years, and you don't need to plant it again in your lifetime. You only need to cut the bamboo, and it keeps replenishing, and it has high calorific value, just like eucalyptus. If you are to use eucalyptus for generation of energy, you'd have to wait for 7 years. Once you cut the tree, you have to wait another 7 years for it to get ready. But with bamboo, once you plant bamboo, it keeps regenerating, and it's a good source of renewable energy. And besides that, it's also very good for environment conservation, particularly degraded areas or even riparian areas. If you have idle land that you'd want to make use of, bamboo will be a perfect solution to that. So we are open for any farmer that wants to get into contract farming for bamboo. Our demand is about 6,000 metric tons every month. bamboo. So you can see it's a huge volume that we need. So we are out there asking farmers that if you already have bamboo with you, you can deliver it to BIDCO, or if you don't have, then you can get into a contract with BIDCO and you start growing. And last but not least, we have opportunities for animal feeds. As I said, when you crush sunflower and soya, you get the soft oils. And you also get the byproducts. The byproducts, we normally convert them into high quality feeds. Last year, we partnered with an organization called Land O'Lakes. Land O'Lakes is the biggest animal feed manufacturer in the US. They've brought in new American technology in manufacturing animal feeds, and we partner together. They are leveraging on our distribution channels. We've come up with a brand called BIDCO Feeds. The BIDCO Feeds, it's one of the best quality feeds in Kenya for dairy and poultry. We have put up a plant in Nakuru. It's channeling about 160,000 metric tons of feeds into the market. So that opportunity is available. If you are a farmer that is doing poultry farming or you are doing dairy farming, the feeds are available for you. You could also become a distributor for the BIDCO feeds. Yeah, so those are the three opportunities that I would like to highlight for now that are available in BIDCO. They are all available to us, and I'll be ready to answer any question that will be forwarded to me. So thank you very much, Wagechi, back to you.
Thank you very much, John. And our distinguished participants, we have had, there are already 3 opportunities from BIDCO, and Invest in Africa is willing to support you to actualize those opportunities. So if you have questions, just shoot them on the chat box. We'll open the floor for that. But allow me kindly to quickly introduce Valerie from Gender Capital. You know, once you've heard about the opportunities, the next question is, how can I be supported to access finance? And I'll very quickly invite our panelist, Valerie, to talk to us about opportunities and how they are working with agribusiness entrepreneurs. Thank you, Valerie. Over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Valerie, and I work for a company called Jenga Capital, which is looking to provide support to different agricultural businesses here in Kenya. We can provide between 100,000 to 300,000 of capital, US dollars of capital, to different businesses that are operating across different value chains, all related to agriculture. So we will provide funding for primary production, for value-added processing, for market linkages, for transport, anything that has to do with the production or the distribution of food. We can provide debt, so we can provide loans, or we can provide equity, or we can provide some type of combination. So we try to structure our investments in a way that makes sense for the businesses that we are providing that support to. So depending on the harvest cycles or the seasonality of the business and the crops that you're growing, we would then structure the investment or the repayment period to be best suited for your business. In terms of the length or the duration of the loans or the investments that we would provide, again, it depends on the stage of business and what type of business they're providing services for. So typically we would be able to provide loans that range from 1 year up to 3 or 4 years. We can provide funding to support working capital. We can provide funding to support growth. So if you have a new piece of land that you want to grow on, and you're looking to either purchase that piece of land or you're looking to just kind of expand on a piece of property that you already have, we can provide the capital for that. If you're looking for more processing side and you're looking for different types of equipment, we can also provide the capital to support your growth plans there. The way that I try to partner with organizations is you guys are the experts in your business. So you need to come to me and you tell me how much capital you require and exactly what you're going to do with that capital. My background is in finance, so I am not an expert farmer or anything. So you guys are the ones that should be best suited to decide, okay, this piece of property I will allocate, for example, with in partnership with BIDCO, X amount for sunflowers or X amount for bamboo. And then we are the ones that once you have your plan or your existing business, you come to us and tell us roughly how much money you need, and we can work together to structure things in a way that works for everybody. I think the opportunity that BIDCO is providing is very unique, and I think it's a great opportunity from my perspective, because typically what we would look at when evaluating a business is we look at their financial performance in the past, we look at all of your legal documentation. Depending on what type of business, we look at your supply chain, and we also look at your customers as well. So if you have some type of off-take agreement, for example, with BIDCO, that certainly reduces the risk that we see as you have at least one guaranteed customer there. We would prefer to support businesses that already have some type of track record. So if you have already been growing sunflowers in the past, then great. Even if you haven't been growing sunflowers in the past, but you still have experience in agriculture, in similar harvest cycles or similar businesses. So for example, kind of how John was saying, they're working with people for beekeeping. So if you already have your sunflower plot and you're looking to expand into the beekeeping side of things, that's certainly a vertical integration that we would be able to support. Similar to John, some of the things that we look for is also good environmental practices and sustainability. So I think in his example, the bamboo and the renewable energy, those are all areas that we would like to be able to support. And so just kind of in terms of the logistics of things, please feel free to reach out to me if you are looking for capital that is between $100,000 US to $300,000 US. We are also able to provide funding to, I guess, groups of organizations or groups of people, but that would become a little bit more complicated, and I would require you guys as the farmers to kind of, or the business owners to kind of put that together, put your proposal together as a team. And again, we would be looking for contracts and offtake agreements with BIDCO or with other customers. And then we can have a one-on-one conversation where we get down into the nitty-gritty details of your business and what that capital will look like.
Thank you very much, Valerie. I'm sure we have all heard from her, and we may be having questions to Valerie. Kindly just put them out on the chat box, and we shall continue engaging. Would now like to hear from Chance of Polycom. Just introduce yourself and tell us about Polycom and how can you support these opportunities being discussed to move from the farm to the market.
Thank you very much, Wangechi, and good morning, everyone. It's almost afternoon. My name is Charles, as you've heard, Charles Maina. I'm the General Manager in charge of technical services in Polycom Services Kenya Limited. We are headquartered here in Mombasa, but we have our tentacles through the East Africa, also Nairobi. And basically, we are a private organization that is anchored on quality control. That is our main business. And myself, I'm a chemist. I have also a lot of knowledge in quality control or other system management. So Polycom basically deals with the testing. That is one of our core services. We have an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory, which offers testing solutions, that is the quality control and also the quality assurance for manufacturers and also the farmers. Then apart from that, we also have these credentials for ISO 17025 We also do inspection of cargo, or rather where you have any transfer of custody. And our membership also stretches from, we are members of the Federation of Oilseeds and Fats Association, that is the FOSPA. We are also members of the Grain and Feed Trade Association, that is the GAFTA, and also the Chamber. Over and above that, we in line with what has been discussed, I think, and I would say this is the right platform, because we come in strongly now to do the quality control, because before you do that planting of the sunflower, you need first of all, as a farmer, to have your soil analyzed to make sure that you have the right nutrients. You need also the farm inputs, that is the fertilizer. If you have to use them, they need also to be tested. The irrigation water that you're using to do the irrigation, it also needs to be analyzed in a laboratory. Over and above that also, what BIDCO has said also, if you could listen carefully also, because they are also quality conscious. In as much as you want to supply them with those raw materials, you also need them to be of quality. And that's where we come in as a quality control testing laboratory. So our services, we are able to come to the farm level, and especially at this time when there are some travel restrictions, there is the issue of the social distancing because of the COVID-19. So we have our foot soldiers, which are spread all over within the country, whether it is the people from the Embu County, people from Rift Valley. We have our foot soldiers throughout the counties. So they are able to come in the field, they will do the soil sampling, they will be able to take the samples, including also the feeds. If you also venture in the feeds, we are able to make sure that if you are becoming a supplier, or maybe also if you want to major also in the poultry farming, we are able to come as a third party and verify the quality of that of the feed that you are using. So we are also NEMA designated laboratory. So when it comes to environmental matters, we are very conscious, just to make sure that whatever you are emitting in your business, whether it is in the farm level, whether you are in the horticultural sector, whatever you are discharging to the environment, we are able to do the measurement of the same. And over and above that, we are able to check the product to make sure that they meet the requirements of the buyer. So this is in line with some guidelines. For example, if it is a sunflower, I believe for you to be able to supply BIDCO, in order for them to be able to produce that oil and fat of a certain quality, they will require you to meet a certain standard of the sunflower. So that is where we come in strongly. We are able even to advise the farmer on some of the do's and the don'ts that you're supposed to do. Of course, taking care of the environment, because some of the farm inputs are what now pollutes the soil. And we are able now to detect maybe some of those traces in the oil. So we will be able to work together with you as a farmer to make sure that the integrity of the raw material that you're supplying to BIDCO, we've been able to certify it. We've been able to verify that it is actually does not pollute the environment, and at the same time it does not invalidate or rather make the food or rather pollute the food in heavy metals. For example, we've had issues of the pesticides. We've had issues of traces of pesticide in food. We've had issues of aflatoxin. So we are able to come in strongly, offer those solutions to the farmer at this time, whereby safety is very keen for everybody in terms of what we are consuming, in terms of the environment. So we are able to come in strongly and offer even some trainings to the farmer, and especially when they also need to do some basic grading of some of the produces that they produce in the farm level. So we are able to guide that and offer that infrastructure as a private company. So we have been in business for over 21 years, and apart from also having the laboratory, we also offer inspection services, and this comes in whereby, for example, if you have been funded and the financiers would want to see whether the money that they have invested in you have been put into the right use. So that is whereby we come and we become like the third party who verifies this farmer was given this amount of money, and we want you to make sure that you put them into good use. That is where we are able to share the report to the financiers. We are also able to guide you how you are able to as a third party, and we can be able to do now the third party inspection. Then also when you are doing the transfer of custody, for example, you are supplying your raw material to BIDCO, you're moving them from maybe Nakuru, or rather maybe you are receiving also those goods from BIDCO. So we are able to come inspect those goods, check whether they are the right quantities, because there are some visual maybe requirement they need to have the right quantities, they are packaged the right way, the transportation or rather is done right, the containers that are used to, or rather the trucks that are used to transport the raw materials are of good integrity. So we come in strongly in the whole value chain, right from the farm up to the delivery of at the doorstep of BIDCO. So that is basically what we do. And I think I would like to talk much more about the measurement, which is the testing of the soil. I've talked about the testing of the water, testing of the farm inputs, testing of the raw materials, the finished product, whether it is for pesticides, whether it is for aflatoxin that you need to be tested, whether it is for heavy metal, because the whole idea, or rather even at this time, is revolving on quality and also the safety, because you are talking of also the safety of the environment, the safety of the food, and that is how we come in strongly as a private third-party testing institution. Over to you, Wangeshi.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. Now we have even more and more knowledge about who else is in the ecosystem that we can work with. Thank you for that great introduction. And now, last but not least, we have Glenn from Sandy. Glenn, just introduce yourself and talk to us about how you are supporting businesses during COVID, because like we all know, the efficacy of logistics is so critical for the agriculture sector. It doesn't matter how good your product is, but in a COVID world, we have questions around how do we move our produce. You know, we are only reading about bottlenecks and disruption and commodities not reaching the market. So talk to us about Sandy and how you can support. Thank you.
Thank you, Wangeshi. I'll try to be as concise as possible. So in a nutshell, Sandy is an online logistics platform that connects businesses to transporters. We do this via an app. There's a mobile app, but there's also a website, a web app where you can access these vehicles. And the process is pretty simple. Once you signed up, you simply make a request and specify your pickup location and your drop-off location. And the vehicle shows up to take your goods wherever you want them to go in Kenya or even East Africa for larger consignments. And the transporters that we give businesses access to are ranged all the way from trailers to lorries or trucks of different sizes, that is 14-ton all the way to 3-ton trucks. We also have vans, pickups, and motorcycles. So we work with farmers and also agribusinesses of various sizes, depending on the truck size that they need from this. And we've also launched a consolidation service in various towns, large towns across Kenya, for instance, in Nakuru, Nanyuki, Nyeri, Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu, just to allow smallhold farmers to move goods across the country as well. So as you'd mentioned, logistics can be a huge bottleneck for not just farmers, but for business across board. And there's this statistic we're fond of using once in a while, which is when goods get to the supermarket shelf or to your shopkeeper, a lot of the time, 60% of the cost of that item is just the cost of moving it to where you are. And it's Sandy's mission to help to make it easier for businesses to trade by making this cost as low as possible, by reducing the fragmentation in the sector, introducing professionalism, but also adding things like tracking of goods in real time, insurance, just to make sure that just to minimize the risk for businesses trying to move their goods. But then aside from this, there's also the aspect of improving transparency and collecting data so that businesses are more aware of how they can improve their supply chains and their logistics. Yeah, I think that sums it up. Wangeshi?
Thank you so much. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard about the opportunities that are live, that are convertible, right from starting from BIDCO. They did talk about 3 specific value chains: the sunflower, there's bamboo, there's animal feeds, and they are ready to do business with us. And we've also had quite an elaborate view from Valerie that they can actually support, but you have to be within Kenya, you have to meet their requirements. BIDCO also will have to buy your produce, having met certain quality standards, and we've got Polycon there to support us. And we have got Sandy that will ensure that our produce or your produce or whatever it is that you want to deliver gets to the market. So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's now our moment to ask questions. I can see that there are quite a number of questions. So number one is, there are very many nice comments here. First of all, I see there's somebody, Farab, who says that they made mandazi with mariandazi and fried with elianto. That was delicious. Thank you very much. I believe that's a comment, a very, very good comment. Someone is saying the bamboo story will be a good story for their farm. Contacts for John Karaoke. We shall be able to tell you how you can connect. But there's one question on what is the price per ton of bamboo? So this question goes to John. Allow me to read a couple of questions that for John to be able to respond. So that is one. The other one is, how do I engage with BIDCO? I would like to experiment with 1 acre. So maybe John will be talking to you, Mombi, on how you can work with Invest in Africa. Okay, so those are some of the questions I can see going out to John. So, and then there's a question here for Valerie. What is the interest rate for Jenga Capital? How long does the business need to be in existence before they can access the financial services? And would you finance startups that are less than 2 years old focusing on agribusiness marketing? So Valerie will be responding to your question. There's also another one on the interest rates, contacts for Polycon. We shall be sharing those contacts. So I think first of all, let's begin with BIDCO, and then we'll take the other round of questions to John. The price per ton for bamboo.
Thank you very much, Wageshi. The cost per ton for bamboo is 5,500 shillings per ton. Or rather, it's 5 shillings and 50 cents per kilo. The cost of production is very low. As you are aware, bamboo, you don't have to keep weeding, you don't have to spray anything once you plant. It's the only huge cost is at planting, where you spend about 60,000 shillings per acre for establishing the plantation. Once that is done, in the 4th, 5th year and onwards, for the rest of 40, 50 years, you'll be getting about 350,000 shillings per acre, free, because there's nothing that you are spraying, or you are, other than just maybe slashing to keep the field green. And the beauty with bamboo is that it also cleans the environment for itself. If you look at an area where bamboo has been planted, that area normally remains very clean around the base. So there is very little input that you need to do. The only cost is for harvesting and transport. Thank you.
All right. There's still a question here on the period of maturity for sunflower, and what is the size of land required to farm the bamboo?
Yeah, the maturity period or the life cycle for sunflower is 3.5 to 4 months. It should be ready within that time, depending on the location and the variety. Then the other question was on bamboo. Preferably, you should do 1 acre and above for bamboo for it to be economical. Preferably, it should be planted in riparian areas, in degraded areas, or any idle land that you are not utilizing. that would be the perfect areas for planting bamboo.
All right, thank you. So there were a couple of questions for Charles on soil testing and how that is done. So maybe you can run us through that.
Thank you, Wangeshi, and also the listeners. I think maybe to begin with the soil testing, and also I've talked about the water and the input, farm input testing. Normally, I think our contacts have also been shared there. You can contact us through laboratory@polycon.com, also polycon@polycon.com. Then once we receive an inquiry, we provide you with a quotation, and we will be able to come and do the sampling on the site. Then we have the technology and the latest equipment that are able to do those testing within our premises. Then from there, now you get the test report now, which guides you on if it is the soil, what is it lacking, or rather where is it lacking phosphorus, are you lacking calcium in it, is it are you lacking nitrogen. Then from there it guides you on the farm input that you're supposed to put, because the idea here is also to make sure that you maximize on the produce that you would want to get from that cultivation, because we've had instances whereby people just go and just dose any type of farm input that they get, because maybe it's cheaper. But it's, as a good culture, it's always good to make sure that you test the soil that you're using, because even the soil sometimes also has the contaminants, because you might take your product in BIDCO, or maybe you want to export your product outside Kenya, then you realize that it's being rejected because you want to export that horticultural product, you went to sell that sunflower to BIDCO, but at the end of the day you realize that every time you want to export your product, every time you want to sell your product, it has traces of heavy metal contaminants like lead, things like the mercury, things like the arsenic. So before you even do the farming, it's, as a good practice, it's always good to begin with analysis of the soil, because that is actually the beginning of the contamination. And also the farm input that you're also putting there, they need to be checked whether they have the contaminants, whether they also meet the required threshold for the nutrition. So normally, once you do the inquiry, we normally have a procedure on how we will come and now get the soil from the farm level, whether it is that irrigation water, because also it has its requirement for the irrigation. Then the other question was about how to test also the sunflower. Also, it's the same process, because we have technology for testing different products. Maybe this is just a small tile within the agri sector that we offer, because we also test the grains, the finished product themselves. Because I believe also when BIDCO, because we also would like to support BIDCO for it to support also the farmers, whereby we can be able to test those animal feeds, because we have had cases whereby some feeds have been given to the animals, then the animals end up dying because of aflatoxin. So we are able to come in as a third party. We are able to come and check right from the raw materials, the finished products, including even checking the whole process of production, where as an independent party, because we have fairly young and trained scientists who ranges from food technologists. We have agronomists within our company who are able also to guide you on what is supposed to be done. So, but basically the whole thing starts with the client, whereby you are able to ask us what you need. Then we can be able to provide that proposal. Then from there we can come and do the sampling on site. Then we give you the test certificate.
Okay, great. And Charles, just while you're at it, there are two questions here. Do you have agents for soil testing in Nairobi and also in Kisumu?
Yes, we do. In fact, in Nairobi, not just agents, we even have our laboratory. Also, we are actually setting one of the most modern laboratories also in Nairobi. Over and above that, we also have offices. In Kisumu, in Eldoret, we have our foot soldiers who are able to come to the farm level and do the sampling. We do quite a lot also for other sectors within the economy, because we also, apart from now the agri sector, we are also working with the oil and gas sector. We are working with the logistic company. We are working with including also the NGOs that also buy some of these produces from the farmer. We have been extensively involved sometimes in supporting farmers to realize and be able to reach the standards that are required by some of these NGOs. Because you realize that one of the goals of the NGO is that in as much as they are feeding the people, they are not supposed also to poison the people in as much as you want to give someone who is hungry some food. So we were engaged in a process whereby it's called Purchase for Progress. It's capacity building for the farmer, whereby they have set the standards, but they realize that in as much as we keep on asking these farmers to supply us with these products, they have not been able to acquire those standards because of maybe they don't have the skills that are required, maybe to check the nutrition level in the farm. They don't have the infrastructure to check things like the aflatoxin. So ours is like a journey whereby we work with you as a farmer to be able to meet those requirements that are needed by BIDCO, whether it is that NGO where you want to sell to. We work with you, we are able to raise your standards. Until now, we tell you, you are at the level that BIDCO now will be constantly buying a product. Instead of every now and then you take your product, they are rejected at the gate. So we are able to build that capacity to the farmer and also guide them in case, because we have had instances whereby you take your product in BIDCO, but someone, just because you don't understand also the technicalities and the requirement of the standard, you feel like maybe you are being discriminated because you have not been able to interpret what do they say if they require moisture content of 10. What do they say if they say their aflatoxin should not be higher than this? So every time you take, it is rejected. So we are able to work with you to make sure that you mitigate even some of those post-harvest problems that are associated with the agri products.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And there's somebody who is asking you about rough costings. Maybe, Charles, you can just respond to them on the chat box. So that,
yeah, we share that.
Yes, we can be able to respond to the other questions. I know that Valerie was responding to some of the questions via chat, but maybe Valerie, you can just talk to us for a minute or so to respond to. I think there are about 4 people who have been asking the same questions around interest rates, yes, and the documentation.
Sure. Okay. So interest rate is a hard one to answer when I don't know a ton of details around the amount of funding that you're looking for, what type of business you have, and just kind of the other structures. So the way that we price our deals, or therefore the interest rate, is kind of how risky we view this the investment overall. So the higher the risk, so if it's a startup, any of that kind of stuff, then it would be a higher interest rate. So our range of interest rates is quite broad. I would say from around 8% up to kind of 14, 15%. Again, just depends on the structure. The deals that we have done so far, they have been in the 10 to 12 range. So it just kind of depends on the business itself, how much funding you're looking for, who your other partners are as well, how long the business has been around. That being said, we are able to provide funding to not necessarily pure startups, but businesses that have been around for a minimum of a year. You have some type of track record that you can point to, that you have either your existing customers or your existing suppliers. You already kind of have that figured out, or you have some type of contract, for example, with BIDCO. I think, again, in the context of today's webinar, I think the businesses that are able to partner with BIDCO and Polycon and Sendy, I think, would be businesses that we would view you've kind of reduced your risk of the logistics and the transport with Sendy in terms of the actual the quality control through Polycon, and then obviously you have your off-taker agreement with BIDCO. So I think businesses that can kind of find that package of all of those different things, they would have it would, from our perspective, it would be less risky, and therefore you would have a lower interest rate. In terms, I think there was another question around the documentation that we provide, or that we would request. We would want to take a look at just want to understand what your business is right now. So an overview of your existing business, an overview of how much funding you're looking for and the impact that you're looking to do with that money. So if you're requesting 100,000 and just want to understand where is that 100,000 going towards, how is that going to expand your business? And then more specifics around customers and suppliers as well.
Does BIDCO take any type of bamboo or specific bamboo variety? And then we have another one that is asking, with the quality margin practices affect the farmer profit margin that ends up being a loss to the farmer or low profits? Does this depend on acres or the crop? So I think these are questions that are directed to John.
For bamboo, we can take any type of bamboo, but what matters is the size of the cams. Remember those long posts, what you call posts in the normal language, they are called cams in scientific language. And those cams, you cut them into 1 meter long poles. It should not be less than 4 inches, but it should be bigger than that. Otherwise, any bamboo we can take. Now, the other question was on about quality. Yes, quality can affect the profitability of the investment. If normally we need the crop at 13% moisture content and less. So if the moisture content is above, then you have challenges with the profitability of your investment.
There is somebody asking whether on the ecosystem we have someone who specializes in market intelligence for agribusiness. Yes, we do have. Just connect with Lucy. She'll be able to link you to that person. We do have those specialists in the ecosystem. We do have, I think, a question here from Sam, and this goes to Sandy. In terms of the logistics, can farmers work in groups and engage Sandy to support delivery of the produce to the market?
So that is possible. I think it depends on the location where the farmers are situated, but it is definitely possible because you have a number of vehicle sizes. So you could even do it by yourself, depending on the quantity of goods or produce you want to move. But it is possible. So I think what I'd ask is where are the farmers located?
Now, if I was to just shoot one, is to talk to us as business people. How can we get ready to work with BIDCO? What have been bottlenecks around supporting smallholder farmers, and what is it that you'd like us to be really aware of? Because we want to build back better, and we want to become more resilient by taking advantage of these opportunities, ensure that from end to end we are able to engage in ways that will make us more productive, and we want to make money out of the opportunities.
Yeah, thank you very much, Agesh, for that important question. One important thing that we should all be aware about is the whole business venture, the whole agribusiness venture depends on productivity. So if you don't follow the good agricultural practices, then you'll not be able to get the right yields, and therefore you'll not be able to get good returns on investment. So it's critical that we emphasize on following good agricultural practices in terms of what's the quality of the seeds that you use. Have you done it correctly in terms of planting? The harvesting, has it been done well to reduce post-harvest losses? How about logistics? How has it been transported to the factory in Nakuru? Are there losses on the way? So all those issues, they affect the end product, which basically determines the return on investment. So it's important that we ensure that productivity is optimized in this business venture. Thank you, Ageshi.
Okay, thank you. So other than that, how else can we get ready for business with BIDCO? And particularly for the youth. You talked about youth and sustainability. I'm sure there are very many young people who at this time, maybe they've found themselves out of employment. How exactly is BIDCO supporting the youth, or do you have very specific opportunities that youth can be able to take advantage of?
Yeah, thank you, Agachi. It's the same opportunities that I talked about. Yeah, we are open to women, we are open to youths, anybody can come on board. And one thing that I would like to mention to the youth is that you don't actually need to own land. If you don't have land, you can lease land. You can lease land from large-scale farmers. You can lease land from, there are some government agencies that have a lot of land that is available for lease. So as we are open to anybody, we are open to women, we are open to youth to come on board, and we work with you.
All right. So thank you. Thank you very much, John. It's good to know that everyone can participate in these opportunities, and our distinguished participants, you've heard that is a commitment of BIDCO towards supporting the economy, supporting us in gaining more resilience, and to help us in recovering through very specific areas of business and value chains that are dedicated to small and medium enterprises. And for us as Invest in Africa is to see how can we strengthen our ecosystem to ensure that these opportunities are actualized, having to work across every point of the value chain. So without much ado, what I'll just want to do now is to move to each and every participant, and maybe starting from Sandy, and just ask you to give us your parting shot. And this is informed from your rich experience in working with SMEs and also working with smallholder farmers. What insights would you offer to date, given that we are living in a COVID world that could potentially threaten our survival as businesses, and with respect to your field of business? So what's your parting shot today as we come to almost the end? We haven't really come to the end, but we want to hear the parting shots of our distinguished panelists today. So starting with Sandy.
Thank you, Wangeshi. I think COVID or no COVID, I think the most important thing would be always keep in mind business fundamentals. What COVID has done is it's sort of woken us up and just increased accountability in a sense where businesses are having to keep track of how they've been spending their money, the cost and efficiency of different components of their supply chains and just overall operations. So what I'd say is just keep track of what counts, especially cost-wise, and especially in the realm of logistics. Keep track of how much everything costs, where the bottlenecks are within your supply chain, and then deal with those specifically. Have the right data in hand to make the right decisions.
Thank you very much, Glenn. So have the right data in hand, keep track of your costs in logistics. Thank you very much. Charles, any parting shots?
Thank you, Wangeshi. I think mine is also to echo what we heard from BIDCO about making sure that you adhere to quality, because at the end of the day, for you to be able to get the right returns that are commensurate to your investment is by making sure that you adhere to the quality, make sure that you observe the standards that are required, make sure that you practice what we call even good farming practices. And I think in as much as COVID has disrupted a lot of businesses, I think there's a lot of things that we need to learn, because this issue of what we are calling about the next normal is something that needs to create an awareness that we always have to make sure that we are talking of now maintaining the distances of 1.5 meters social distancing. So it's more or less of a standard in a way, whereby once you're talking to someone, ensure you observe that social distance. So if we can be able to replicate that discipline in every item and every process that we undertake in our businesses and also in trade, I think we will be good, because standards at the end of the day, quality at the end of the day, you will never go wrong with quality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. And Valerie, your parting thoughts to our members today?
Sure. So I would say there's a few things that I just want to touch on. I think kind of to echo what Charles and Glenn have said already, but making sure that businesses, especially in this new COVID era, keeping track of your expenses and being very aware of your business and all the steps involved. So as they said, kind of keeping track of your costs. And I think also, if you can, putting together some kind of budget is very helpful. It's helpful for you to understand and to keep track of how much you are spending or how much you are receiving in comparison to that budget as well. Financial providers and banks will certainly look to see your budgets, to see how well you understand all of the different components of your business and how they're all impacted on each other. Another thing that I think is very helpful from my perspective is when businesses, if you're going to do a startup or if you're venturing into a new product line, if you start off doing a small piece of property or a small plot, for example, of bamboo or of sunflowers as a bit of a test. From what I understand, obviously there's lots of different variables that can impact, especially agriculture, and getting the right inputs, the right understanding your soil, and doing kind of your homework up front before venturing into a large 10-acre or 5-acre or whatever it is project. I think it's really important and it's really beneficial if you have the ability to spend a little bit more time and a little bit more money up front to be able to help you succeed later down the road. So irrigation, for example, is something that's super expensive, but at the same time, it does protect you against drought or whenever there are more weather-related issues. I think things such as what Polycarp provides, the soil testing, is something that is not very expensive comparatively, but understanding the components of your soil and then what you need to add to that in order to get the highest yields possible is really, really important and can increase your yields and therefore your revenues and the money that you receive by just kind of a simple test at the beginning. So I think it's really important if you can kind of sit down and just say, okay, what are the things that I need to identify that will help me to succeed, and how much is that going to cost realistically? And I think banks and financial providers such as Jenga Capital are always happy to see businesses that have put more thought into that preparation, and there's no reason why we wouldn't accept allocating some of that money to go towards soil testing or preparation, if that's going to mean success in the long run.
Thank you very, very much, Valerie, and for that reassurance. And finally to John, what's your parting shot?
Yeah, my parting shot is that we as BIDCO, we are open for business. We are open to empower women. We are ready to empower youths economically. And let's not just do subsistence farming, but commercial farming that gives return on investment. So we are open for that agricultural transformation that will empower all the smallholder farmers, youths, women, everybody in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your great parting shots. And a lot of you have asked for the contacts of our panelists. They are all partners of our ecosystem. So first of all, if you're a member of Biashara.now or a member of Wakulima Hub, you don't have to worry. You are taken care of. We've got your back. This is our ecosystem. These are our partners. Valerie is right there. We work with her. We can facilitate you with her application forms if that is what you need. Whatever you need, you'll find it in the ecosystem, and we are more than happy to be able to support you. So those are their contacts. You have John, you have Glenn right there, Sandy, like they said, they're willing to work with farmer groups. I have seen that we have a couple of farmer groups joining us here. We're also running a study, a survey to help you as an entrepreneur. We are collecting feedback to understand how COVID is affecting you and what support that you need. As you can see, as ecosystem builders and providers, we are engaging quite a number of partners to put together and to synergize around supporting you. So when you do see that link coming through to your email, kindly give us your feedback. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have all really benefited. I personally have really enjoyed this webinar series for BIDCO, and I would just like to take, first of all, this time to really thank our great panelists for sharing knowledge, for availing their time, and for just reassuring us and affirming that we are on track, and that even though we are going through COVID and we are really hard hit, it is possible to actualize this opportunity. So a big thanks to BIDCO Africa, our partner who we were collaborating on this webinar, and also for being ready to do business with us. So thank you so much, John. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you, Valerie, and thank you so much, Charles from Polycon. And to all our guests today, we have seen that this webinar has brought participation from different counties. We've got guests from Bungoma. Today we have Kilifi County, we have Mombasa, we've got Kwale, a lot of people from Kajiado County, from Embu, from Nyeri, from Nanyuki. I think almost half the counties are represented here this morning, or rather this afternoon, and we don't take it for granted. Remember to please keep this conversation going. We are encouraging you to follow us. I think we have our Twitter handle right there. Follow us on Facebook. Let's become friends. Follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, because we want to create one strong community. And this is how this information is going to spread, and that we are going to learn from each other and draw from the ecosystems. And then if you're not a member of Biashara.now or the Wakulima Hub, we do encourage you to please join in. We're also encouraging farmers to come together. Let's collaborate and let's come together and find out who's there. We do have other partners who can still assist you. We are working with aggregators and different other different partners who can support you in growing your business. So right there you can see our Facebook. Our name is Invest in Africa Kenya. On Twitter it's at IIA_Kenya, and the hashtag is at IIA Webinar Series. Follow us on LinkedIn, and let's grow our community. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.